We are back. This is hour 2 of HardFoul Radio. Like I said, we got Will coming up here shortly. We also have our way too early power rankings because everybody's doing them, and so that means we got to as well. You guys know the drill. We have get lost, get out, get good, get great, get excellent. And these are, again, we're going to do these a couple times because obviously we still have the draft. We still have free agency, but this is, as of right now, the way they ended their season, where I have teams. And let's get started at the very bottom. We can be quick here. Get lost. These, to me, are the 5 teams who are starting at ground zero, and maybe it's even below ground zero. The Cardinals, and you're going to notice something here. We have some really bad quarterback situations. What are the Cardinals going to do with Kyler Murray? Are they going to keep him? Are they going to cut him? Like, what are we doing, Marvin Harrison Jr.? Yes, you got Trey McBride, and are we rolling with Jacoby Brissett going into this next season? Like, there's a lot of issues here with the Arizona Cardinals. Again, you just fired Jonathan Gannon. You got a new head coach. I thought this was going to be Vance Joseph's spot. It didn't. They ended up taking LaFleur, and maybe he'll be able to provide something there. They just lost their offensive coordinator. Like, there's a lot of issues. Cleveland, I just saw that Todd Monken is intrigued with Deshaun Watson, and I think that has everything to say about their next season. Myles Garrett, you signed up for this. You got paid. You got what you deserved. The Cowboy fans, I'm sorry, and I'm close with a Cowboys fan, and they had a better season I think they thought they were going to have post-trading Micah Parsons. They do have draft picks, but the story right now is they're going to put a franchise tag on George Pickens, and we've seen how well that's worked out with their contracts and negotiations. I think there's a lot of issues here with Jerry Jones that are not being resolved, are not being fixed, and I think it's going to be really tough for Cowboy fans to go and be excited about what's going on right now. And so I think there's a chance this blows up, despite I think last year was better than expected, and I think this year has a chance to be worse than expected. I don't see how they make the playoffs. I think if Jaden Daniels comes back healthy, I think they have a real chance to be the 4th best team in the NFC East. It could be a rough year, man. And you still have Dak Prescott as the highest paid player in NFL history. Miami Dolphins, you're either cutting or trading Tua, taking the huge cap hit. Tyreek is probably done. Jalen Waddle, you're probably going to have to trade just to get some draft capital. Bradley Chubb, that's never really worked out when you traded him and got him from Denver. Nothing against the player, it's just hasn't been high enough impact. Mike McDaniel got fired. You got probably the least exciting head coach hire in the cycle. Them and then the team next in the Jets. Aaron Glenn, you just finished a season with as a defensive head coach, and team didn't have a single interception. Justin Fields is just not the answer. There's only one elite quarterback in this class because Dante Moore dropped out, and you got the 2nd overall pick, so you're not going to have a chance to get Mendoza. I think these 5 teams, the season is pretty dead on arrival for, unfortunately. Moving on to Get Out. So these are teams, they're not dead on arrival, but I think it's going to be tough to be in the playoffs. The Falcons, I like the talent here on offense. The quarterback situation, Penix is an injury risk. It looks like Kirk Cousins is going to be cut. We'll see what happens there. The Carolina Panthers, was it a nice story? Yes. And Bryce Young getting his 5th-year option picked up before CJ Stroud is kind of a modern miracle. But I still have questions about Bryce Young. I still have questions about this defense. The running game is better. They've got a 2-headed monster. But this was an under 500 playoff team. And even though they did play well against the Rams, I still have a lot of concerns going forward with this team. The Bengals. Is Joe Burrow going to miss the playoffs for 4 straight years? And if he's not, tell me why he should make the playoffs when this team is once again going to be awful defensively, 2 great wide receivers, a great quarterback who's injury prone, and a head coach that we don't fully trust. Like, what is different? What is different about this Bengals team and the last 3 years where they didn't make the playoffs? The Raiders, I like the Kubiak hire. I love the Shanahans. I like the Kubiaks, Denver tree. I think Fernando Mendoza is going to be good. Obviously, Bowers, Genti. We'll see what happens with Max Crosby. There's conflicting reports there. But this is one of the toughest divisions in football. The Chiefs are expected to be back. The Broncos are just the 1 seed. The Chargers are expected to win the division, have both their tackles back, an 11-win team. So I think the Raiders will be better, but I don't think quite a playoff team. The Vikings finished 9-8. And I don't think enough people realize that. We just thought they were terrible, but they actually were 9-8. JJ McCarthy did become the meme for playing ass at quarterback. But even with that being said, I think there's things to like still about this roster, but I do worry about in their division that they are still on the outside looking in unless JJ McCarthy takes a huge leap. The Saints, if they really have a program here, I think this is one more year. They had a really solid draft. Shuck, Banks, there's talent on this team. I think they still need one more draft. Kellen Moore was a good coach. Is a good coach, I should say. This offense moved. This team was better than people expected it to be, but I still think they need one more draft before I can put them in a good or becoming a playoff team. The Steelers, I think Mike Tomlin is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I think we're going to see that. Mike McCarthy is not a bad head coach. He's not a bad hire, even though it's the PR for it seems like it's an awful hire. The ability of Mike Tomlin to pull this team up, being the all-time floor raiser, I think we're really going to see it. And if the Steelers team gets on a losing streak, I think it's going to be really hard year one to pull them in. And what are we doing at quarterback, guys? Are we bringing Aaron Rodgers back for his age 42 season? Are you bringing in Malik Willis? I don't know who your quarterback is. You've lost one of the greatest floor raisers in the history of the NFL. I think there's a lot of potential here for this season to go sideways. The Titans, I like the Robert Saleh hire. I do. And I think Cam Ward showed flashes to where, again, I think this team is going to be more competitive. Saleh's got his quarterback, and you are going to see a competitive 6-7 win team, but I don't think they're going to be able to make the playoffs. But I do like the direction this franchise is going right now. Obviously, I picked it to make the playoffs last year. I was dead wrong about it, so I'm not going to make that mistake 2 years in a row. And the Commanders, if Jaden can be healthy, this is one of the biggest variance teams. If Jaden can be healthy, I do think this team has holes, but I think he covers up a lot of those holes. So they need a healthy Jaden Daniels. They need a good draft and one or two good free agent signings. They do have some cap space. They're obviously going to have still Terry McLaurin there. They got Laramie Tunsil. There's pieces on this roster that they could get into playoff contention, but right now I still think they're a little bit on the outside. Moving to get good, the Ravens. Look, I was really high on the Ravens. I still think this roster is extremely talented. I want to see what it looks like first year. Jesse Minter, Lamar Jackson. See what Jesse can do with this defense. This is another team, if they end the season in great or excellent, I wouldn't be surprised. But for right now, having missed the playoffs, you got a first-time head coach. Reports right now look like you might lose Linderbaum. I think there's potential for another just so-so season, but I still think they're too talented not to be a good team. The Packers, who are just, if there's a safest bet maybe in sports, is the Green Bay Packers are going to be the 7th seed in the NFC this year. That's just what they are. You would hope Jordan Love, again, is in that top 10 range. I think he is a top 10 quarterback. Micah comes back healthy. Another year. This team is so young. This is going to be their third straight year being the youngest team in the NFL, barring, I think there's one or two teams that could catch them if they go extremely, extremely young in the draft. But this team is young. It's talented. Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback. There's a lot to like here, but I think they're not quite a great team yet. The Texans, clearly one side of the ball is great, but we're now on year 2, and we're about to be on year 3 of regressing C.J. Stroud. And we just need to see what we got at quarterback. And that this whole season is going to come down to, can we get C.J. Stroud to just be somewhat close to the rookie version of himself? The Colts, the roster's still really good. Daniel Jones is in a really awkward spot. The Colts are parading him like he's their quarterback, but he's not under contract and he's got a torn Achilles. So this team obviously had talent and they were playing very well before the injuries, but it's a scary situation to be in. I still believe in the overall roster, but there's genuine concerns. The Chiefs, this is just being respectful as much as I can. Mahomes coming off an injury. Chris Jones another year older. Travis Kelce a shell of himself. They're $70 million over the cap. I know they can restructure some contracts, but they're not going to be able to go out and get a bunch of guys. It's pretty much this roster and trying to rebound into a much tougher division they've had. The Chargers, I think the Raiders are going to be better. The Chargers, the Broncos, obviously. I will say, though, the Chargers are the next team. Yes, the Chargers are getting both their tackles back. I know I just keep hitting this point, and I will keep saying it. The Chargers being favored to win the AFC West is an absolute unequivocal joke. But shout out to them. Justin Herbert has to get it done in the playoffs this year, but they're clearly a good team, good coach, good quarterback, good offensive line when healthy. But I also think the Mike McDaniel hire, I think people really, really like, and that's fair. I think the loss of Jesse Minter, like, this defense is not stacked with talent. And so what this defense is going to have to do and going to have to learn is this defense going to be as great as it's been, which the Chargers' winning streak at the end of the season, a lot of it was their defense. They turned Philly over a bunch. Like, when they beat Pittsburgh, like, this defense put in a lot of heavy lifting, and we'll see how much of that was Jesse Minter or what's left over for the talent. One of my highest risers this year is the Giants. I think John Harbaugh, year 2 Jackson Dart, if they have a good draft, I already like their offensive line and defensive line, especially key pieces. I think this has a chance to be, again, Harbaugh's a great floor raiser. It's tough to say, can he get all the way there? We'll have to find out. He's obviously already won a Super Bowl in his career early on with Joe Flacco when he won that all-time run. But the Giants are going to be one of the most improved teams in the league. You're just going to see it. Whether the wins or loss, you're just going to see a much better football team. Harbaugh is a really good coach. And Tampa Bay, I wanted to put them in get out because I did feel like that last half of the season was so bad and jarring that they don't deserve to be here. But they also, you can argue, were such a good team the first half of the season, and I still believe in the overall talent on the roster that they should be in consideration as one of the good teams in the NFC. Get great. The Bills, I said this pretty much all last year with the Bills, and I'm going to reiterate it. This is a Josh Allen respect thing. Josh Allen is one of the 2 best quarterbacks on the planet, and I don't really love how their offseason started. They didn't love, like, their GM has had a bunch of bad drafts in a row, so they promoted him. The offense outside of Josh Allen started to struggle, and they complained about their coaching staff wanting Keon Coleman, and so they, of course, promoted their offensive coordinator to head coach. There's a lot here that's weird, but you can't discount Josh Allen. The reason why I'm putting the Bills over the Chiefs is because I do think the Bills, James Cook is still closer to his prime. Deion Dawkins is still closer to his prime. And the Chiefs, I think, are going to have more of a roster overhaul than people think because of their cap situation, even with being able to move around contracts. The Bears are a sneaky Super Bowl team. The Bears are absolutely a sneaky Super Bowl team. If this defense just gets marketably better, this offense has a chance to be great. Caleb, who I think is going to get better with completion percentage and the easy throws. We've obviously seen he can make any throw in the book. His arm talent is potentially second to none. Division is tough. The Lions, to me, a lot of talent. You can't discredit what they do. Yes, they're coming off a disappointing season, but still 9-8. Still a lot of talent here. I still think a lot to believe in. Then you got the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, Liam Cohen, year 2. This is the team that, even though Denver didn't get all the way to the Super Bowl, as highly as I think of Denver, this was the one team to go into Mile High and just absolutely beat them up. And so you've got to give them credit for that. The Jaguars, again, year 2 head coach. You're getting Travis Hunter back, who's the 2nd overall pick. There's a lot to like here. The Eagles, I still believe in. The Eagles and the Niners kind of have the same thought process. I still believe in the overall talent on the roster. The Niners just have to avoid injuries. The Eagles just have to avoid whatever the hell are 10-yard halves. Like, they can't keep having these extremely unproductive halves. Let's see if the offensive coordinator hire works out as well as they hope. And then maybe cliche, but in my opinion, these obviously were the AFC and NFC championship games. These are the 4 best teams in football. Let's start on the AFC side. Denver, if Bo Nix doesn't break his ankle, is going to the Super Bowl, and I think has a real chance to win that Super Bowl. Defense is elite. Offensive line is elite. The skill position players got better. Yes, they could be better, but they got better throughout the year. Denver does need to solidify its running game, whether it's bringing back J.K. Dobbins or going and getting a free agent running back. They need to be better at running the ball, but otherwise, this is one of the best rosters, most complete teams in the league. The Patriots, with a roster that's really not Super Bowl ready, It's going to be better next year. They got more cap space. They're going to be in year 2 of Vrabel's system. Drake May is going to be another year better. And I think the Campbell and May dynamic, while right now it's easy to crap on both, I think both of their injuries were legitimate. And so them coming into this new season healthier, I think you're going to see a much better Will Campbell. I think you're going to go back to seeing Drake May finish second in MVP votes, the high completion percentage, the deep throws. I think both these teams are fantastic. The LA Rams, Stafford's coming back. It's this. They have an argument they're the second best team this year, and I don't think much of that is going to change. If anything, I think their defense could be even a little bit better. Their defense, sneaky enough, was not good the second half of the season. Jared Verse kind of talked about that. They were kind of, pumping their chest out and kind of feel themselves because they were reading all these great things about him, and he said they did kind of get ahead of themselves. But the defense could be great. Stafford, this offense, Nakua, Devontae Adams, Sean McVay, and, of course, the Super Bowl champions, Sam Darnold, entering his prime. If Kenneth Walker leaves, then there is a chance for the running game obviously not being as good, and we'll see how that affects them. Yes, they have a bunch of cap space, but they've got a bunch of guys they got to pay because they've had 4 straight outstanding drafts post the Russell Wilson trade. They need to pay Charles Cross, Devin Witherspoon. They're not going to be able to go out and get much better as far as bringing in new pieces, but they will be able to keep their guys, Witherspoon, Cross, Byron Murphy here when he comes up another year. So this will still be clearly one of the best teams in the league, the defending Super Bowl champions. And this is our way too early, get good, get great, get out. I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest, most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.